up, everybody? It is your boy, Mr. B. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. And before I begin, I want y'all to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified when all my content drops. Now, back by popular demand, because I've been getting a whole lot of requests for this by all of the 3 people who normally watch my videos. Yes, just 3, but it's cool, man. We're going to get up there. We're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep rolling. I'm still doing this content. It's all for fun. And so, like I said, back with popular demand, we got my Monday morning thoughts, random NFL thoughts that are coming through my mind, and I share them with you guys, and I do a brief conversation with it. No research, no nothing, no filter. I just talk. So first subject we got is Yannick Ngakoue. He got traded from the Jaguars to the Vikings for a second-round pick and a conditional 5th. I believe it was a conditional 5th that'll turn into a 4th if he makes the Pro Bowl. So this actually came out of nowhere for me. I didn't really expect them to make the trade for him. I was actually working on a video to figure out where he would land, and he was not one of those spots. Well, Minnesota was not one of those spots, sorry. And it leads me to believe, like, okay, so what are they going to do with Danielle Hunter? Because Danielle Hunter's coming up, and he needs a new deal. And then you got, he has 2 straight seasons of 14.5 sacks. And you got Yannick Ngakoue, he only hit double-digit sacks one time. And that was when he had, Jalen Ramsey, and they had that stacked defense with Jalen Ramsey, Marcel Darius, and Campbell and all them up there. And, since then he had I think it was 6 sacks and then 8.5 sacks last year. So my question is, how much does Yannick Ngakoue want for a deal? And then how much are the Vikings willing to pay him? Because how much do they want for Yannick Ngakoue, and then how much are they going to pay for Danielle? So it makes you think, okay, because you can't pay 2 players 18 to 20 million per year on your defensive line and expect yourself to have enough money to be able to pay the rest of your players. So you're like, okay, do we pay Yannick about 12, 13 mil, and then pay, because Danielle Hunter, he's going to command a lot more on the open market than Yannick would. And so personally for me, I think he's probably going to take somewhat of a pay cut, or they're going to trade Danielle Hunter, which wouldn't make any sense at all because both of the players are young. So they're going to find some way to keep them both. So I'm very interested to see how they work out that dynamic. And plus, now you have 2 of the most dynamic, athletic players on the defensive line in one spot together, working underneath that system that Mike Zimmer's running. So I'm interested to see if Yannick Ngakoue's sack total is going to go up, and if Danielle Hunter's going to get some more one-on-ones, or are they going to double team Yannick? This is just going to be an interesting year to see with both those defenders on there at the same time. And then the second thing on my mind was Jadeveon Clowney. So my man's out here saying he want 18 to 20 mil. I got nothing against that. Do you, man? Go for your paper, get your money, get those stacks up, And you think about it and you're like, all right, who's gonna pay that though? Because rumor has it the Browns put down an offer for him, but he didn't want to play for Cleveland. Which, nobody's frowning on him upon that, or nobody's going against him for that decision. But it's like, okay, so now you're waiting out your time, but it's like everybody is using up their cap space. So what are you going to do now? And then you say you want to go to New Orleans, you say you want to go to Dallas. Those 2 people, Dallas just signed Everson Griffin, so they don't have any cap space for you, nor you wouldn't have any playing time either. New Orleans, they don't have any cap space at all. Well, not enough to pay you a decent amount. I always thought you'd end up in either Kansas City or back in Seattle. Seattle needs you. They have nobody for a pass rush. So I still think he's going to end up in Seattle, but I'm just interested. Right now, I'm just thinking about what kind of contract he's going to get for holding out this long. And then my other thought is Derrick Henry. I had seen a post on Twitter that asked who is outplayed their contract. So Derrick Henry signed like a $40-something million deal. He's not getting paid more than $15 million a year. Personally, for me, if he's not getting paid more than $15 million a year or around $15 million a year, he's grossly underpaid. So, they paid Ryan Tannehill $119 million or something like that. They got his deal out of the way first, and they got his deal out of the way quick. But for me, the engine that made that offense move was Derrick Henry. And you waited. I think his deal was 5 years, $40-something million. Yeah, I think it was like 5 years, 40-something mil. So you're telling me last year's leading rusher in NFL, your whole offense, because you take Derrick Henry out of that offense, let's say you take him out and you replace him with like Joe Mixon. They're not making the playoffs. No offense to Joe Mixon. But Derrick Henry was the single most unstoppable running back from a running perspective that we've seen last year. Or we've seen in a while. He was dominant. Like when I say dominant, he was dominant. He was stiff arming people. People couldn't tackle him, and he was continuing to stockpile those carries up, and still continue to be able to produce. And that offense moved as he went. Because you see, when they got to Kansas City, he had like 78 yards rushing, and they got their butts whipped. But you see, with Baltimore, they was able to run with him, and they put the hurting on Baltimore. So it's like, you think about it, you're like, okay, how do you underpay a running back? See, personally, I'm curious as to why he took that deal. Maybe he just liked being in Tennessee, or he didn't want to be hopping from team to team. But they got quite the deal from him, man. They got a steal signing Derrick Henry to that contract. I get it. He's not a great pass catcher, and that could have had some sort of an impact. But when you have a runner of his caliber, like, that's still worth something, right? And running backs don't come at a premium anymore. I get that too. But you tell me who in the draft they could have replaced him with. For the next 2 drafts, who could they have replaced him with? Someone who could have handled that many carries, who was that dominant running, who was that dominant while he was running, and who was, able to carry an entire offense by himself. Because that's what he did. That's literally what he did. He carried that whole offense by himself. So those are just things that boggle my mind. And I don't want to revisit the Texans, because I'm going to be thinking about that every week. I could literally talk about that for like 30 minutes. Because that's still D-Hop for a 2nd round pick and David Johnson. I still don't get it. A whole week went by since I shared those thoughts with you guys. Actually 2 weeks, I believe. 2 weeks went by since I shared those thoughts. And I still don't get it. Like, I get the trade. I just don't get the value of what he got in return for D-Hop. I'm 100% certain, 100%, he could have gotten at least a first from somebody. Anybody. The Patriots, maybe. The Ravens, maybe. Maybe he just didn't want to trade to an AFC team. He wanted to send him to the NFC, and at least the Packers. Like, the Packers could have gave up a 1st round pick for him. Can you imagine Devontae Adams and D-Hop on the same side of the field with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback? I don't get it. They could have traded. Like, Aaron Jones is great. He's great. Don't get me wrong. But he about to get paid. His contract coming up. I would have traded Aaron Jones and a 1st round pick for D-Hop. I'd have traded Aaron Jones in a 2nd. I'd have seen if they'd take that bait. Because you know what they took with their 2nd round pick? A.J. Dillon. Pretty sure. It was A.J. Dillon. Which looks like a prototypical Derrick Henry. But as we all know in NFL, you could have the greatest physique in the world. That don't mean you could play football. LaRon Landry was one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen in my life. If you don't remember who he is, I'm gonna drop a picture. LaRon Landry was one of the biggest dudes I've seen in my life, but he did not last in the NFL. He was too big. And it just didn't translate well for him. So there's no guarantee AJ Dillon is gonna replicate what Derrick Henry is currently doing. I remember watching Derrick Henry in college. He was great. Great. He was getting like 10 yards per carry when I was watching him. I forgot which championship game it was, but they were down and they ended up giving him the ball. He was getting 10 yards per carry each time. And I was like, man, he gonna be something in the NFL. I wanted him more than I wanted Christian McCaffrey. I was somewhat wrong about that because Christian McCaffrey turned out to be a beast, a dual threat. And then, speaking of Christian McCaffrey, I saw an article where they said they were thinking about using him as punt returns. Matt Rule, if you use him as a punt returner, I guarantee you are going to regret it. I get it. You paid him a lot of money. A whole lot of money. Just because you pay the player doesn't mean you need to use up the player before you get the most out of him. You don't use him up like that because he's going to be catching the ball. He's going to be running the ball. You don't want him returning punts. You know how easily he can get injured on returning punts? And you want to take that out? You want to take that chance? I hope that was like some type of fake article or some type of satire. Because if you were legit thinking about doing that, I'm worried about the future of my franchise. When I say my franchise, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I call them my franchise because they my franchise. They my team, damn it. I don't own them, but they my team. So, I digress though. I'm just, oh man. See how many thoughts I just have running through my head, man? I ain't organized them or nothing. We just went off the top of the dome, baby, because that's what we do on Monday Morning Thoughts. So, I appreciate you guys for joining me. If you guys like that video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video with your friends, man. We got to get these up. I need more requests from people wanting to see these videos, man. The 3 people that requested it, I appreciate y'all. My ride or dies, my very first ones. Fanatics, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, stay strong, stay safe, and keep hustling.